there, my name's Rainbow, and today we'll be talking about how to properly hold a canoe paddle. First off, let's talk about parts of the paddle. This long part here is known as the shaft. At the top, that's the grip. This happens to be a T grip because you'll see that it makes a nice T. Over on the other end, this part that we use for pushing the water around, that's known as the blade, just like the blade of a knife. And if you were to imagine that the blade is the head of a person and the shaft is their body, right here, you would find their neck. This here is the neck of the paddle. You don't actually hold the neck of the paddle, but it's good to know where it is. So, if I were to want to use a paddle in the water to maneuver my canoe, it's important that I have a paddle that is the right length for my body. The taller person will need a taller paddle. The shorter a person is, the shorter paddle they should use. Now, if I were to take the grip and place it down all the way onto the ground here, the neck of the paddle should actually be somewhere around my chest and shoulders area. Is this paddle the right height for me? Not at all. It's way too short for me. So Rainbow, you're doing an instructional video. Why in the world are you using a paddle that's way too short for you when the neck is down there? It should really be something like this for a paddle I'm using. Here's why. On land, it actually makes a lot of sense to practice with a paddle that's a bit short for you. Mostly because if we're using very long paddles, they bang into the ground a lot and they're easy to accidentally knock over things in our yard or even in our homes if we're deciding to practice inside in a large space. So I use a short paddle for practice on land just to really get a chance to play around with how my body might move. And then once I actually get into the water, I'm gonna make sure and double check the paddle I'm gonna use again, ditch this one, and grab one that's gonna be tall enough for me. So for today, here we are. First things first, when you want to hold the canoe paddle correctly, you're gonna wanna look at that T grip or a wedge grip if that's the kind of paddle you have. One good tip is to act like you're gonna high five the T grip. So I got my high five hand ready. Hey there, T grip man, yeah! I'm in the perfect position right now to grab a hold of my T grip. From this high five position, I'm gonna wrap all those top 4 fingers down across the top. I'm gonna wrap that thumb right there underneath so that it goes something like this. All right? What you don't want to do is hold it down here. That loses a lot of power and control. That also, if my paddle gets wet and slippery, it's much easier to bang myself or someone else with my paddle. Then you're gonna get summer teeth. You ever had summer teeth? Some are over here, some are over there. It's not a great thing. So, high five, wrap those fingers right around the top and that thumb right underneath the bottom. Please make sure your thumb is on the side that feels good for your body and not wrapped over here on the other side feeling a little bit awkward or something. Got that like this. Now the other hand is just going to grip that paddle shaft. You're gonna grip it with the knuckles pointing up. And what you do want, this paddle shaft is a bit short for me, as we just talked about, but what you'd like is for your arms to be a bit wider than shoulder width apart. And when you put the shaft on the top of your head, your elbows should make right angles, just like the corner of a piece of paper. That lets you know they're wide enough apart. If they're not making right angles, they're in like this, that means you're too close together. When your hands are too close together, you lose control and power once again. So really widen them out. Get those right angles going, and that's the proper way to grip a paddle. Now for me, I'm all the way down on the neck because my paddle's so short. In real life, I wouldn't be. In real life, I would be able to have this shaft and be spread apart because I would be using my regular size paddle, not my on-land instruction. But for now, it's okay for practice. So here I am ready to go, practicing my canoe strokes in the yard. Have fun. Be safe on the water.